Did you know that some years ago the computer was very big, that it could fit into a room? Just before it became so small that we can carry it about or use in our office nowadays? Well, in this topic, generations of computer, we shall be looking at the various generations that computer has evolved from. First of all, in this topic, we shall be discussing the first generation computer. Then you shall learn about the second generation. We'll now proceed to the third generation, then the fourth generation, then conclusively, we shall look at the fifth generation computer. First of all, let's talk about the first generation computer. Well, the first generation computer is known as the Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer, also called the ENIAC. Then in 1945, von Neumann designed the Electronic Discrete Variable Automatic Computer, which is the EDVAC. Then in 1951, the Universal Automatic Computer 1, which is the UNIVAC 1, was developed. These machines, that is the ENIAC, the EDVAC, and the UNIVAC, all use what is called the vacuum tube. The vacuum tubes, just as you can see in this video, was what the computer then were using. The ENIAC machine and the UNIVAC was designed by John Presper Eckert and John W. Macklin. Now let's talk about some of the characteristics of the first generation computers. First of all, like we said before, they use vacuum tube technology. Then they generated lots of heat. The first generation computer were also very huge, some were even as the size of a giant piano. Instructions were coded in machine language, and it was very difficult to program. Then they were very expensive to buy and to power. Another characteristics of the first generation computer is that they had limited internal storage, and they were very slow and often unreliable. They also used manual method to enter data into these machines, and they were also very scarce. Now let's talk about the second generation computer. Basically, the second generation computer uses what is called the transistors. This generation replaced machine language with assembly language. High-level language, such as the Common Business-Oriented Language, COBOL, the Algorithm Language, ALGO, and the Formula Transistor, FORTRAN, were also used. Now let's talk about the characteristics of the second generation computer. First of all, they used transistors technology. They generated lesser amount of heat compared to the first generation. They were smaller than the first generation computer. Then instructions were coded or written in assembly language, just like I mentioned earlier. Instructions were also written in high-level languages. They were less expensive to buy and to power. They were faster and more reliable than the first generation computers. They also had limited internal storage, just like the first generation computer, and they use external storage like magnet tape and magnetic disk to support internal storage. They were more common than the first generation computers. Now let's talk about the third generation computers. Now this period witnessed the introduction of the integrated circuits, also called the IC, which was invented in 1958 by Jack Kilby. During this period, new computers companies came into feed, and the operating system allows machines to run different programs. Now, these are some of the characteristics of the first generation computer. They use integrated circuits technology. They generated lesser amount of heat. They also were smaller in size, more than the earlier generations discussed. It witnessed the development of mini computers, such as the IBM 360, Honeywell 200, and so on and so forth. Instructions were coded in high-level languages. They were less expensive to buy and power. and of course they were faster and more reliable. Now let's talk about the 4th generation computers. Now these are the modern day computers. This period witnessed the development of very small microchips. In 1980s, very large-scale integrated circuits and ultra-large integrated circuits, another enhanced type of integrated circuits, also called the microchips, were developed. Now, these helped to reduce the size of the computer and even the prices of the computer. As you can see, computer became more powerful, more efficient, and even more reliable. Now, let's discuss the characteristics of the 4th generation computer. They use microchips technology, like I said, and programmable microcomputers supplied with software packages have been introduced. They generated lesser amount of heat. They are smaller in size. These are the computers we currently use nowadays. Instructions were coded in high-level languages. Then personal computers have also been introduced, which we see today. Object-oriented programming has also been developed. Then they are less expensive to buy and power. They are also very faster and more reliable. They come in various sizes. Now let's talk about the 5th generation computer. Well, these are computers of the future. Well, even though we already have some that we're using, there will be more complicated and more complex computers that will be coming up in the future. These computers will have very high speed of operation. They will come in various forms and shapes. They can even perform multiple tasks, and they will have small sizes, and some will have artificial intelligence, which is also called the AI. Artificial intelligence is a term used to link human behavior and characteristics in man-made machines. Scientists have been and are still trying to build machines that can learn to speak, have emotions, and reason in the same method in which humans do. Now let's talk about the characteristics of the 5th generation computers. Now they will come in various forms and shapes. They will have very high speed of operation. They will be able to take decisions. They will have artificial intelligence, which is called the AI, and they will have relative small size. So let's talk about the summary. So we'll be talking about the generations of computers. We started with the 1st generation computer, then we talked about the 2nd generation computer. 1st generation used vacuum tube, 2nd generation they used transistors, then the 3rd generation used integrated circuits, 4th generation used microchips, and the 5th generation we talked about computers that will be very smart and take decisions. Computers of the future. So that's all we can take for this topic. Thank you so much for watching down to this point. See you on the next one. Bye.